Are you real? More real than you, I'm afraid.
So this past week, I spent some time playing the Alters demo on Steam. Now this demo has been out since June of last year, but with the recent news of it being delayed further into 2025, I wanted to take a look at what was on offer in this short slice. It only ran me about 2 hours or so, but in the short amount it showed off, gotta say this game is shaping up to be a really exciting prospect in the survival game space.
So, where's the captain? I told you, everyone died.
Now what is the Alters then? Well, the Alters is an upcoming sci-fi survival game, with base building elements being developed by 11-bit studios, known for making the amazing This War of Mine and strategy games Frostpunk 1 and 2. In this game, you'll play as Jan Dolsky, the lone survivor of a crash-landed expedition on a hostile planet. You will have to survive on this planet by exploring the surroundings, gathering resources, and building up your base as you journey across this unforgiving land. Now that is going to be pretty hard for a single person to do all by themselves, and this is where the main twist of the game comes in. You have to create alternate versions of Jan, the Alters, to help fill the various holes left by your former crew members.
Calm down. You're not the original Jan, but that doesn't mean you can't be important.
Now these aren't direct copies of yourself, but rather alternate versions of Jan that took a different path through life. We see these various points in Jan's life through the quantum computer on board the ship. Here it details out a timeline of the various moments throughout Jan's life that has built him up to the person he is today. And using this computer, we can branch the timeline and key decision points in his life to explore how his life would have turned out if, for instance, he stood up to his father instead of running off to college. This branch then propagates to an entirely different Jan Dolsky, who stayed with his mother, kicked out his abusive dad, and ended up becoming an engineer down the road. This Jan has had multiple people in his life betray him. It's left him abrasive and less trusting in others, which ultimately leads to some friction with the original Jan, when he learns he was just created to help solve a problem in the base.
You bastard. I did what you created me for. Now stay away from me.
With this being a short demo, we only get to see the first area of the game, ending a short while after you create your first altar and go on the first journey. And if what they have shown off so far is any indication of how they're going to be handling this core concept, then I'm eagerly awaiting the full release to see what 11-bit has cooking for the other altars. I hope they play around with this idea as well, really explore how different Jan can become based on these different choices. Will there be an altar that is so fundamentally different to the original that they can't reconcile the differences? Will some of the altars band together if you don't treat them well enough? Maybe even staging a mutiny? They've already shown off some of the altars in the trailers with the different specializations or roles they will hold as part of your crew, but I wonder if we can expect more as we progress, or if this will be all that will be available in the full release. They've also stated that you won't be able to select all of the altars on a playthrough, so you have to pick and choose which ones you want to fit your crew.
Oh. Of course. What else?
Aside from that, the visuals of this game are landing pretty well for me too. This unforgiving environment that Jan finds himself trapped in is strikingly beautiful in its harsh and brutal landscape. From the radiation storms causing the water to spike like waveforms, the jagged rocks making up the cliff sides, and the ever-present threat of the sunrise on the horizon that blankets the landscape in a red glow as the days press on. All work to remind you that you do not belong here, and this world is very willing to kill you.
If we don't fix the machinery fast, we're gonna go in a very bad way, and you'll never get the chance to understand this properly.
The home base itself has a kind of grounded sci-fi feel to it all, with elements that definitely show it takes place in a futuristic setting, but not so far off that it seems too fantastical. The living spaces are littered with little items and features that make it feel lived in, instead of some pristine spaceship with untouched halls. The common areas like the kitchen serve as hubs that the altars will congregate in as the days go on, and the base itself is a giant wheel that can roll around the environment to take them to different areas. All in all, I'm very much liking what's been shown off so far, and I only hope we can expect some more varied locales later on as we journey across the planet's surface. So what are we actually going to be doing in the altars then? Well, first off, this is a survival game, so you can expect to be exploring around, gathering resources, crafting items, and bringing them back to upgrade your base. Alongside these elements is what appears to be a personnel management system, where you'll be able to assign the altars to jobs across the base, so they can work on that whilst you're off exploring the planet and finding new areas and resources. Attached to this, your altars will need to be properly cared for, as their different emotions can be viewed in relation to the events that have happened with them and the conversations. It's unclear how this will come to affect their work or if any consequences will arise from treating them poorly, but it has been shown that making comfort items like quality food will help appease these altars to you. I will say the weakest part of this demo for me has been the resource gathering out in the world. Granted, this is only the small opening slice of the game, but I would have liked to see an inkling of how deep this pillar of the game goes and what range of gameplay systems we can expect here. Because as of now, it's just walking up to deposits and holding a button. That's going to get very boring very quickly if that's all we're going to be doing. You can also come across some items out in the world. The ones I've seen so far were personal belongings that were brought here along with the crew to remind them of their lives back home. But it would have been nice to see these displayed somewhere back at base or around our room, but unless I managed to miss it somewhere, these seem to have no effect whatsoever. Quick touch on performance before I wrap this up. Now I played on a pretty decent rig. Generally this game managed to run at a pretty stable 70 to 80 FPS for me, with a rare dip down to 45 or so. It's worth bearing in mind, as this demo was released back in June, that this is most likely a very outdated build by now. We can generally expect more optimization to come with the full release. As usual, it'll be worth checking reviews for the platform you use when the game releases to get a better idea of how it will run on your system. In terms of bugs, nothing major to report here. Other than the rare graphical or animation oddity, the only issues I came across in my playtime were bits of geometry in the world that looked to be passable, but ended up getting stuck on when you tried to run over them.
What? Again? Hey, you still there? I really need your help.
So yeah, that was a brief look at the Alters. This game is looking to have some amazing potential, and with the pedigree of the developers, I have high hopes that they can deliver on the promise that this demo has shown us. Originally, this was scheduled to release sometime November 2024, but was then delayed to Q1 2025. However, just recently this has again been delayed to now a general 2025 release. Hopefully this is just them taking a bit more time to ensure a high quality finish, and I for one am willing to wait for that if this is the case. This is certainly going to be sitting at the top of my wish list for now. If you played the demo, leave your thoughts down below, as I'm interested to see how this landed for other people. For now I guess we'll just have to wait for the full release sometime later this year.